Do you know, I mean, time obviously would either go really slow or really fast when you're looking back at it. Do you have any idea as to how long the whole thing actually lasted, Kara?
I don't know, because it's really weird, because I know that for a fact that they came in at about 10 after 12, and that's only because my coach said that my number called him at 12:25.
Okay.
So I know that at that time, and I didn't, and then I left and came back to Windsor and called the Detroit police, and that was, I made the report at about 2:30. So I don't really know how 2 hours went by. It's...
I mean, to say it's all a blur would be an understatement at that point. When you...
It's weird, though, because I wasn't really afraid to die. I was afraid to get raped by all of them and tortured, and afraid that...
You were afraid to live and remember.
Yeah, exactly what I was afraid. And then I was really afraid for my body to be missing, and then, you know, friends and family searching for me forever. Like, that's, you know, you see enough of that's terrifying. Like, I would never want to put anyone else through that.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you know, you contacted the police, and what have they told you? What have the Detroit police told you at this point? Just
nothing. And that's... Any
similar cases recently in that area? Because this is downtown.
This is not really downtown. It's kind of on the west end.
Okay.
That for me was a really sad point in this whole incident, was that when I came back home to Windsor, when I was driving towards the tunnel, I kept pinching myself, like I didn't know if I was alive or not. Like, my brain was in such a weird headspace that I wasn't sure if I was like bleeding out, you know, in the gym and just thinking that I was leaving, or if I was actually driving. And when I got across, I remember calling my coach and saying to him, like, well, don't worry about it, because he's there with a fighter who's a police officer out of Detroit. So I told him, and they called his buddies, but I said, well, why are we even telling the cops? Like, that's where my mind was. Like, I said, they're not even gonna think this is a big deal. And that's what's really terrifying, that people can grab a gun and a bandana and do whatever they want to do, and you don't feel that there's any, you know, accountability. That was a terrible feeling. And
I mean, again, you're there all the time. Like, you're back and forth more so than anybody that I know, really, that lives in this area. And for someone like myself, you always hear of how incidents like this in Detroit, you think, there's no way that's not going to be in the back of your mind the next time you cross the border.
Right. And I guess that's the weird part, is I've always had this invincible mentality with a lot of stuff, and maybe that's why I'm a professional fighter. You know, you always think you're going to come out on the good end of things, and you know, in my mind it's like, well, if I go back, what are the odds of that happening again? That's kind of weird where my mindset is. However, being here in Windsor, where I feel very safe, we have metal stairs coming up to the house, and the wind was blowing, and I heard that shake, and I instantly got that feeling that it was that banging, that the guys were coming in. And I can't, like, I know I probably can't go there anytime too soon, because I can't close my eyes. Like, I can't sleep. As soon as I close my eyes, I see those 3 guys breaking down that door and coming towards me with the guns, and my brain going, what are they going to do to me? Like that, I can't get past that right now. So.
And a lot of people obviously come in and out of the, you said the place is called, what again?
World's Best.
World's Best. Have you thought maybe it's somebody who's come in the past, or knew someone who took some training with you or your coach as well? Yeah,
and I mean, I didn't think that. For me, I thought it can't be anyone that knows us, because we're so kind and giving, and you know, we're doing it for the kids and the people in the neighborhood. And then the first thing my coach said was, it's got to be someone we know, because why would you even? Because the building's not, we don't have it identified as that right now, because we already have some fighters in there. So he thinks that it's got to be someone that was in there. And because I just did the weight room and in the office, and we put a flat screen in the office so that we could watch fights before guys had to fight their opponents. And that would be the only thing. But you would have, I would think common sense, there's no money in a boxing gym either. Like that's...
So really it was just happenstance. It was bad luck that you happened to be there that night. Yeah. They were going to be breaking in and trying to steal whatever regardless, and you just happened to be there that one night because, God forbid, it's raining and you want to stay there, and hopefully you said the roof leaks from time to time, and you wanted to make sure that things were okay, and
And that, yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
And you know, it's weird because when you get victimized, like you hear it from other people, and I was a psych major at university, and you hear people talk about how they blame themselves, you know, and I've gone through that already, and I'm like, it's weird because I keep saying, what if I would have parked my car in the garage? What if I would have, you know, double bolted the door when the coaches left, whereas I like went to sleep before they left, so I should have got up and done that. And what if when I looked out and saw the door, I could have ran out, you know, I go through so many things like, what could I have done to not to have happened to me?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
The fact that it wasn't anything personal, I'm sure would make it easier in a sense, regardless if these three gentlemen are caught or not, right? Because it's not as if they'd be looking for Kara Rowe. Like, how do you feel about that?
No, I don't think they even anticipated me being in there.
They were just as surprised as you were, and
I think so. Yeah,
okay.
And then they might have thought there was someone else, because I think they were. Well, why would you be here? You know, in Detroit, in this place. And that's why they kept asking me over and over, who else is here? Who else is here? And meanwhile, I'm like, I'm just taking care of the gym tonight. You know, it's just and it's one of those things. It's like I remember saying to myself, well, maybe I should just go home tonight. But I was like, I don't want to battle the bridge traffic. Mm-hmm. Better I should battle three gunmen. You know, like.
Yeah.
So it's so ridiculous when you think of what could I have done differently, but it's really not about me.
Anyone in particular come to mind when all this was happening? Like, you know, what if this is the end? What were you thinking? With any family, any friends?
Oh, the only thing I was so scared about was my mom. I was just so terrified that she would find out. She doesn't even know this has happened to me. I know it sounds so bad, but I know it would just be something that she couldn't handle, because you know it's hard for a mom anyways that their daughter goes to Detroit.
That's a conversation you're probably almost in a way scared to
have.
I'm
so nervous to have that this actually happened, you know, that to me. And you know, I so much of the time that I was thinking about her, so how can I get out of this, because this would be the worst thing that could ever happen to her.
Well, Kara, hopefully these thugs get what's coming to them, but regardless, I'm so happy that we're able to have this conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that you're here and everything's okay, and thank you for being so open with us, and I appreciate your time.
You know, the other funny thing was just that, you know, so much comes back to you, like I said, the Oprah thing of don't go to the second location. The other movie, it was the movie Taken, and it sounds weird to think of this stuff, but I remember when the girl was under the bed and trying to take note of everything, and that's what I was doing. Like when I was laying there, I was trying to look at the shoes. I was trying to get anything.
Really
to
listening
identify.
to voices.
Yes.
Because you had even mentioned to me before we had this interview where you could tell just by the speak that one of the guys he was clearly black, and the other one may have been white, trying to sound tough or whatnot.
Right, and that's what I was trying to do when I was laying there, because your brain is it's so astute at that time. Your hearing is, because I remember he listening for him behind me to hear if he's going to unbuckle his belt. That's the one thing I kept listening for, is he going to unbuckle his belt? And then I was trying to listen to how they sounded and the things they said, and trying to look at anything that I could see on them, because then what do? You go to the cops and say, well, I don't know what they look like, I can't identify them, so I have to just suck it up. That's kind of how you feel. Mm. You know, it's you're double victimized, because then you have to you have to take it, because that's just the way it is here. You know, that's a terrible feeling.
And again, somebody who's purposefully put herself in danger before with your boxing career, this is a whole different ballgame, and you were completely not in control. That must have been the biggest fear, right? I think looking back, it's kind of strange, and when I was telling one of my friends on the phone, he kind of was laughing, shaking his head at me, because my fight or flight is instantly fight. And, you know, as soon as they broke through the door, I'm like, what do you guys want? Get out of here. There's nothing here for you. And even when they had me face down, I was just like, no, I didn't call anybody. I still had that, I have a place in this world, and you can't just come in here and completely abuse me. It was weird that I still had that, and looking back, you kind of say to yourself, you really said that to 3 dudes with guns? In that situation? Yeah.
At your head, pointed in the back of your head, and
yeah.
It's you do really weird things when you're kind of in that predicament.
Okay. Again, Kara, thanks for being so open, and I'm glad that we're sitting here. And
me too.
And I'm just not hearing about this from someone else.
It could have been so much worse.
It certainly could have. Kara, thank you so much.
Thanks, Bob.